Super Mario movie came out this week, which was probably one of the most controversial movies to come out this year so far for all the wrong reasons. I went and saw it on opening night with some friends, admittedly on a elevated plane of thought, but I gotta admit, it was a really pleasant surprise. Mario was the first game I ever played back when I was like 4 years old, when my cousin came to babysit me and she let me play Mario 64 on her Game Boy, so I tried to go into it unbiased, and even so, I still loved it. I remember the night before the movie came out that my friend told me that the movie had like a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes or some crazy shit like that, and honestly, I do not see why. It just shows how off a lot of review journalists are. They're just out of touch with what people like and what's good, so far as to calling it offensive and stuff like that, which I think is just ridiculous. This was the most inoffensive movie of all time. It felt like it was engineered to just be as good as it could be in every way, just good. And in my opinion, it succeeded, both in just being a good movie and just being a happy movie, a fun movie, something you can just enjoy, you know? To start off with the elephant in the room, Chris Pratt was not bad as Mario in my opinion. I know a lot of people were really concerned that he was just gonna make Mario sound like Chris Pratt and, you know, not like Mario, but I'm really happy to report that in my opinion, that was not the case. There was one scene the first time he ate a magic mushroom where his voice got an octave deeper and he sort of sounded more Chris Pratt-y, which had me concerned that was how he was gonna be for the rest of the movie, but thank God that was not the case. In general, all the voice acting was just really good. Jack Black absolutely destroyed his Bowser, and he was probably my favorite performance of the whole movie. You could tell he was just really excited to get into character for that big, old, green, ugly, fugly Koopa lizard. I was a huge fan of Keegan-Michael Key's performance as Toad. I thought Toad was so funny. Just a really enjoyable character. Specifically his interactions with Princess Peach, I really enjoyed how they made Peach's character not just all about the, I'm a strong, independent woman, and I have to do everything on my own, and I can do everything on my own. Instead, they did what I think is the best path for all characters like this, and they just showed that she is a strong, independent woman and can do shit on her own without saying it out loud every chance they get. There's also just a ton of love for the games that obviously went into this movie that I just really enjoyed. A lot of scenes with callbacks to classic memes and classic moments from the games, and even just other side-off games like Mario Kart, which I'm sure you obviously expected. But nonetheless, it still made me really happy to just see these things included in the movie from some big studio and a big company like Nintendo. There are two pretty major complaints that I could see people having with the movie that I just like to address because I personally don't really see them as a problem. To start off, I feel like I'm gonna hear some people online saying that Mario is an everyman in this movie, and to be honest, yeah, he kind of is, but at the same time, you do realize Mario's like the default man, right? If there's anyone in the world who should be an everyman, it's Mario. He is an everyman. Think about all the games he's in. In Smash Bros, he's got like the default basic new player moveset. On the cover of Mario Kart, what do you see him driving? The default kart with the default wheels and the default glider. Mario being an everyman not only just makes sense, but it's logical. It's what should have happened. And it's not even like making him an everyman made the character worse. In my opinion, he was just a fun character to watch grow and come through his journey in the movie. The other big complaint I could see a lot of people having, and this one I will admit I do think has a little more ground to it, is that the pacing was pretty fast. But on the other hand, what we got was so good that for now I can accept that. Don't get me wrong, I do wish they had showed a few more kingdoms in the movie just to give it more of that Mario game feel of going from world to world to finally reach Bowser's castle. But at the same time, when I look at how well the movie was animated and just in general made, I can understand why there wasn't. Let's be honest here, video game movies have not gone well in the past. And frankly, Nintendo and Illumination both probably realized that there was a risk in trying to adapt one of the biggest video game franchises of all time into a movie, and the budget that would have been required to add on an extra hour is probably insurmountable. I'm hopeful that if we do get another movie, maybe it will be a bit longer now that they've seen this one's going to be pretty successful. At least that's how I feel after seeing it and seeing the general public reaction to it. But there is still no denying that the pacing in this one was a bit fast. Like I said, for me personally though, it wasn't really a problem. Except for the purely good way that I just wanted more of this movie. Like I've already said, the animation was absolutely stunning. I loved looking at Rainbow Road. I loved seeing the Kong's Island. I loved the Mushroom Kingdom's look too. It all just had a nice style to it, and it didn't feel like corny or loosely inspired. It really did just feel like a movie version of the Mario world. The jokes were absolutely killer too. There's one that stands out in my mind without getting into too many spoilers, where Bowser and Luigi are talking, and Bowser's asking Luigi, well, do you think Princess Peach could, like a portly man like that, could a princess be attracted to such a man? And Luigi, as you know, he's scared out of his fucking mind, is just, if she has good taste. And I thought that shit was so funny for some reason, along with all my friends. So yeah, overall, they really didn't miss the mark with a lot of the comedy in this movie, in my opinion. But again, that maybe could have had something to do with me being in a elevated state of mind. But I just really enjoyed how they took incredibly simple games like Mario, at least plot-wise. Let's be honest for a minute, while they may be fantastic games, the Mario games plots aren't exactly moving anyone to tears or changing worldviews, you know? And the fact that they were able to take that base and turn it to just such an entertaining movie with a, at least comparatively to the game's, complex world is really cool to me. And not to mention, a good sign for the future of the franchise. Overall, in my opinion, it was just a really entertaining movie with really good vibes. Putting aside any bias that I have for the character in the games, I'd still get this movie an 8.5 out of 10 shekels. I'm really excited to see how they take the direction of this series and universe in the future, and if you're just looking for a good, fun movie to watch with some friends or your family, I'd say this is definitely one you should go check out. It really has just left me with a feeling of fulfillment that even a day later, I'm still feeling. This movie still has me feeling good up and up, like I just took a big old bump of sugar. I know it's really cheesy, but I'd just like to thank Illumination and Nintendo for pulling this off and actually doing it. It really is just like a childhood dream of mine come true to see this kind of thing happen with one of my favorite characters. And overall, like I said, just a great time. Just a really well-made and well-loved movie. And honestly, what more could we ask for the future of video game media? It's just been really nice to see the direction that video game media, like movies and TV shows, have been going with stuff like this movie, The Last of Us, and Sonic the Hedgehog in the past few years. And it makes me kind of excited for the future to see more stuff. Now, if you aren't necessarily convinced by someone who is in an elevated state of mind, I actually brought in a second reviewer, my stone cold sober roommate.
I would give it 8 supers out of 10 Marios.
I honestly really want to see it again, and sadly, my bank account isn't really feeling that kind of move right now, so I guess I'm gonna go sell myself on the street corner till I get enough money to go see it again. All right, bye!